Are you ready to enlist? Because today we're going to be having a look at the Star Wars First Order Stormtrooper Executioner. This Kotobukiya 1/10 pre-painted model kit also has snap fit parts. In other words, you put it together and what you get is the First Order Stormtrooper Executioner model here. Let's get the ball rolling. First thing we're going to do is take the tape measure and figure out how tall the Executioner is, putting it next to him. He's exactly 6.5 inches in height. You've probably seen these before. He comes with a square, matte black display base. The underside here has Lucasfilms, and it is a magnetized base. In other words, there's a magnet actually on the undersides of its feet. And the statue not firmly plants. It has still a little bit of a catch to it, but it does allow the figure to, at the very least, allow you to move the statue around, which is one of the traits that I like so much about Kotobukiya. They don't limit you where you have to put them on the display base. Simply, they could put a peg there and a hole there and basically tell you that's where exactly it can go. But really, you could have the Stormtrooper further back. You could have it on an angle. I mean, you could turn the square into instantly a triangle, into a diamond, I should say, and you could display the figure that way as well. Okay, so there's really a lot of cool stuff happening with this, but before we get into like all the different things you can mix and match on this guy, let's have a look at the statue itself. Now, it's not even really so much a statue as it is, again, a pre-painted model kit. In other words, when you get it out of packaging, the head is something that is a separate piece, as well as the arms. No, I'm not breaking it. This is how it comes packaged. So I'm just going to take everything out. You get basically a torso, and you get lower legs. They don't have any sort of posability to them. I feel as if there could have been, but there's definitely posability happening in the upper torso, which is really interesting to see from a Kotobukiya release. So when you get it out of the box, the first thing you probably want to do is give it a head. And just plunk the head on top of the ball joint. You now have some additional posability. And you get posability in two places. The posability happens both in the ball joint that sits in the under socket of the head, and then you've got a secondary ball joint here, so you can move it back and forth, and then you can also move the head independently, tilting it back and forth, up and down. So there's really a lot happening there. Then, of course, we're going to go ahead and put the arms in. These are the relaxed or draping arms. There's also variation to that. They'll tell you which way based on the shape as to which way the arms will face, but rule of thumb as well is you would want the hands facing forward. And again, you just kind of line that up, snap it into place. And snapping is literally the sound of, well, it's called snap together, but it's also the snapping sound that you'll hear knowing that you put it in the correct place. Coloring wise, it's about what you would expect for a Stormtrooper. It's all white with a lot of black accents. A really nice touch is the black band, the strip of black that runs along the top area of its helmet, and then carries its way into, I guess, the breathing apparatus, the breathing section of its mask. It's very clean, it's very precise, it's what you would expect to get with Kotobukiya releases. The torso, again, there's not really a lot of color happening here, but where it does deliver is the sculpt. You also got the First Order logos there on either side of the shoulders. Again, some nice sculpting there on the interiors of where the plates are not on the trooper's outfit. His belt, a few little pockets happening here, a blaster on the side. It's not removable, so I wouldn't take the time to try to remove that. I'm not really even sure what this is. I think it's like a first aid pack. And of course, then he's got the magnets on the underside here. His weapon of choice, he comes included with a laser axe. Doesn't really look like much of an axe just yet. However, it does come with two variations of the axe. One completely closed up, and then one now fully retracted, fully extended out. You can see how they would work the mechanics on this, and none of these actually have hinges to them, so I wouldn't open those. But it does give you two variations in which you can attach it to the axe. Now, to attach it, there is this almost L-shaped peg on the underside of the axe. You line that up with the axe shape here, or number 7, whatever shape you'd like to describe that as. And you've got the closed, fully closed up axe. Nice additional gold now that's been introduced to the picture for an otherwise black and white treatment. It is a very, very nice touch. Now, if you want to have that as the fully opened black axe, same idea. Find the peg, there's the L peg right there, and line it up. Very straightforward. By putting it as a specific shape as well, it guarantees you that you're only going to be able to put it the one way. Now, depending on how you want to have the axe displayed, I find it's actually better to take the part of the axe off. That's, if anything, the one fragile thing you would have to worry about. And then you kind of have to pry the fingers just a little bit, I find, to get the handle portion of the axe all the way through. Once you got that in place, go ahead and grab the part of the axe that you want to use again. I'm going to go with the closed one just to show you. Plug that into place. Grab our display base, which I just so happen to put to the side. And you've got the First Order Stormtrooper Executioner with the axe now to the side of his arm. And it looks really good. Couple that for the fact that you also have the posability in the torso, means that you really can customize this, at least from a pose standpoint, any really which way that you want, providing that you're making use of the torso articulation and the head articulation. Again, you can kind of angle the torso back, bring the head a little bit more forward. That's definitely a very cool looking pose. The other thing that Kotobukiya gives you as well is swappable arms, which will drastically, as you'll see, change the look of the Executioner. So first thing we'll have to do is pull the arms off. There we go, there's one. And we'll pull off the other. And I find it's better to start with this arm. So we'll plug that in first. There we go. Not so much a snap in place, but firmly secured. And we'll go ahead and take the axe. And the other thing you would want to do, first thing we'll actually do is take the handle, we'll slide that into the hand. So again, just slightly pry the fingers apart. It's pretty forgiving actually for being able to fit it in place. Then go ahead and take the secondary hand, and just pry that a little bit, and fit it around the top portion of the handle. Once that's in place, go ahead and then swing the arm around. And I just find it's easier to do this than once the arm is in place, then trying to get it around the handle. You may want to even just slide the handle up a little bit, then go ahead and take the shoulder, snap it into place. There we go. Again, you may want to just bring this up a little bit. It's entirely up to you. There we go. And then you can either take the closed down or retracted, I suppose, axe. Or in this case, let's go ahead and take the fully extended axe. And once again, we're just going to line up the axe handle. And now you've got the Executioner with the axe drawn. We'll go ahead and bring the base in once again. And again, your luxuries of displaying him with different poses, you can do that. You can bring the axe a little bit further forward if you want, or you can slightly tilt it to the side. I kind of like this look, because it makes him look more like a samurai, just kind of drawn sword to the side shoulder kind of thing. But it's a fantastic look. Either way, depending on whatever look you want to go with, the arms to the side or the arms drawn, either way, it looks exceptional. This is my second experience with a Kotobukiya piece that had swappable arms, which would drastically change the look of the character. The other one being the Supergirl. I really like this idea, and this is something that not a lot of other companies are testing the markets with. Something that you could swap arms out and drastically really change the way that the figure looks. It's almost to the point that with the different options for the laser axe, the different options for the hands, I would almost even entertain the idea of picking up a second one of these so I could have them in two drastically different looks. The icing on the cake is for the fact that you've also got the posability in the head, the posability also in the torso, so you can really do a lot of changes and moving and stuff for really essentially a model kit. Kotobukiya, again, continues to impress me with the kind of stuff that they are releasing. It doesn't matter if you're even a Star Wars fan, you got to admit that this is a pretty cool function. The idea of being able to swap out hands and drastically, again, changing the look of a character. This probably, however, would cater closer to a Star Wars fan. So if you are a big fan of the newer Disney Star Wars films and want to get the Executioner in a statue form, I wouldn't think of any other a better example really to pick up than the First Order Stormtrooper Executioner 1/10 scale pre-painted model kit from the folks over at Kotobukiya. This, by the way, should be available now in comic book stores. And like I have said in previous reviews, if for some off chance a store that you go to on a regular basis doesn't happen to stock this, don't worry. A lot of times you can go up to the person that owns the store, or a lot of times they may have someone else working there as well, and they'd be happy to order this in for you. It takes a couple of weeks or so, sometimes depending on the distributor, and you should be able to get it in relatively a quick amount of time. I really do think, though, this is a nice looking piece. I like the design of the First Order Stormtroopers, and by being able to incorporate all these additional swappable options, really takes then the First Order Stormtrooper and makes him that much cooler, even though he is pretty cool. Today, though, we were having a look at the Kotobukiya ArtFX. This was the Snap Fit Star Wars First Order Stormtrooper Executioner 1/10 pre-painted model kit. I'm probably going to have to trim that down a little bit for that to fit all in the title. If you guys want to check out some other Kotobukiya releases, I've got a whole playlist designated just for Kotobukiya. Also, make sure you head over to the main page when you're done this video and scroll down the section that says videos. See if there's anything that you may have missed along the way, because it is possible. I do post a lot of content. You may have missed something along the way. Feel free to post comments and check those videos out when you have a chance. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you guys next time.